Hiya, my name's Andrew and I teach languages, and in this video I want to go through a question I'm frequently asked by students, which is how do I improve my speaking? Well, there are a number of ways to do this, and the internet is your best friend. Obviously, I teach languages online, so as an online language tutor, I like to help people improve their speaking. But how do we go about doing this? Well, there are a number of ways to do this. First of all, you need to choose the right tutor, somebody that you feel comfortable working with. It's a safe environment. You're not, if you do make mistakes, you're not going to get laughed at. It's not like being in a business meeting or something like that. Secondly, you need to read. One of the best ways of understanding grammar and vocabulary is through reading. And if your tutor sets you targeted, focused reading, which is appropriate for your level, which means a little bit too difficult for you, you need to understand about maybe 95% of the words, get the rest from context, maybe use a dictionary, but reading is the key way to learn new vocabulary. And what happens with new vocabulary? Well, in a speaking class, you activate that vocabulary. You take it from dormant, being sleeping vocabulary, vocabulary that you understand, but you can't necessarily use to speak. You take it from being dormant, from sleeping, from being understanding vocabulary, to being active vocabulary that you can use. And this is a key function of communicative online language classes. This is what I do with my languages when I'm learning. This is how I teach. This is how I've taught for years. It's the best way to improve your speaking. Second, in this video, I'm not going to go through, like imitations of accents, intonation, and getting perfection with your pronunciation. That's a different video. But some things you can do is choose an accent that you might want to replicate and use your smartphone. Speak in your smartphone, record yourself speaking. Then you might hear any pronunciation difficulties that you're having, any issues you may be having, and you can rectify them yourself. Yeah. The third thing to do is to use different topics in your speaking class. Don't go into a speaking class using topics that you've spoken about before unless you want to repeat some of this dormant, sleeping vocabulary. Let your tutor choose different topics for each class, but agree the topics with the tutor, because your speaking requirements are different from somebody else's. So some tutors may try to use the same materials over and over again with different students. That may not be necessary for you. You might want to talk about different topics that may be more related to your work, perhaps related to your hobbies, or perhaps you're preparing for an exam. Therefore, the things you need to speak about and the way you need to improve your communication in English is different from somebody else. So make sure that you're getting custom made or tailored topics that are relevant to you, that you can speak about in your class to improve your speaking. Because you have to remember that speaking, it can't be learned from a textbook. And unfortunately, most of our modern education systems use textbooks, and the opportunity to practice speaking is very limited. It might be pair work, talk with a partner about such a topic, but are you really getting corrected by the teacher? So perhaps if you want to improve your speaking dramatically, one-to-one classes on the internet are the future for you. Because that way you get instant correction, instant validation, instant confidence from using your new speaking skills. Another tip or another piece of advice, because advice is uncountable, I can't say more advices that doesn't exist. So advice or a tip is definitely to do online classes, but agree with the tutor what you're going to talk about, do your homework, whether it's reading or listening, and then bring that vocabulary to class. Start using it, start activating it, and have a clear idea, agreed with your tutor, of which topics, subjects, vocabulary areas, grammar areas are relevant for you to improve your language. Online classes are a great way to do this. The internet has made the world a smaller place. We can get in touch with people, we can communicate, we can improve our speaking. I've done this myself, you know. I lived in Spain for a number of years. I speak really good Spanish. I use the internet to practice Spanish, and at the weekend I went out in the UK to a Spanish restaurant, and I was really, really comfortable in talking in colloquial Spanish, everyday Spanish, and formal Spanish with the staff there. So you need to know which context you're going to be using the language in. If you're going to be using it just for going out for a meal, well, that's rather easy. I also use Spanish for business. So if you're using English for studies, business, holidays, whatever it may be, discuss this with your tutor and design a personalised action plan. Now, a lot of people on the internet say that listening is one of the sort of key fundamental things to do in order to improve your speaking. It is, but not necessarily, because listening is really good for improving your pronunciation, your accent, should you wish to adopt one. And if you don't, you know, most people are quite comfortable speaking in their own accent with a little bit of accent reduction, in which case reading, repetition and speaking practice is the way to go. Because you have to remember, I'm speaking to you now and I'm using a lot of different muscles, yeah? I'm using my lungs to bring air in and out. I'm using my throat to make different sounds. And I'm using my mouth and my tongue to form the different sounds that I'm using in order to communicate. So it's a kind of exercise. So in order to be good at exercise, you have to practice it. If you want to go and run, let's say, a marathon, or you want to go swimming, or you want to go cycling, you have to begin slowly and build up this confidence, this competence in this exercise. And it's the same with speaking. It's actually a physical exercise from the lungs, through the throat, through the larynx or the voice box, through the mouth, the tongue, the teeth, everything comes together, and it's a form of exercise. So the only way to get better at this form of exercise is by practicing it. So really, what I'm saying is, get on the internet, get a tutor, such as myself. I'm here to help too. You can look at my website below and book classes if you wish. I'm an online language tutor. Get practicing, get speaking, get confident. Use different techniques, learn the vocabulary, use it in the next speaking class. If you have any doubts with grammar, ask the tutor in the next speaking class. Practice it and practice it and practice it again. I also play musical instruments, and a lot of people say to me, wow, you must be really talented to play musical instruments, or you must be really talented to speak all these languages that you speak. It's not a question of talent, it's a question of practice. It's a question of setting clear objectives of what you need to improve, getting a good tutor, and going through these objectives in a structured, controlled way. That's the only way to improve your speaking. Clear objectives, reading, and practice. So, I hope that you found this video quite useful, and obviously if you'd like to book any speaking classes, well, I'm an online tutor. You can find me at various places. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Good evening.